Tom adjusted his communicator as he stepped onto the shuttle, his mind buzzing with the details of his new assignment. The Galactic Council's Deep Space Station, a sprawling hub of diplomacy and science, was his next workplace, and the shuttle ride there felt interminable with anticipation. As the shuttle docked, the doors slid open to reveal the station's bustling interior. Species from across the galaxy mingled in the corridors, a vivid tableau of the Council's diversity. Tom's role as a linguist was not just a job. It was a bridge between these myriad cultures. Walking through the main concourse, Tom was greeted by his new supervisor, Dr. Eli Voss, a human with a reputation for his diplomatic skills. "Tom, welcome aboard. I trust your journey was comfortable." Eli extended his hand, his voice a calm, welcoming presence. "Very much so, thank you, Dr. Voss," Tom replied, shaking his hand. "I'm eager to start. I understand the challenges are quite unlike anything on Earth." "That they are," Eli chuckled, leading Tom through the corridors. "Your expertise will be invaluable here. Most of our staff are scientists and diplomats, but few have your knack for languages." Their conversation was interrupted by a commotion ahead. A group was gathered around a display where a holographic projection malfunctioned, flickering chaotically. Among the crowd, a female figure stood out, her skin tinted a soft blue, typical of the Hydroni species. Let me introduce you to another key member of our team," Eli said as they approached. "This is Mila, our anthropologist from Hydronis. Mila, meet Tom, our new linguist." Mila turned, her eyes a striking shade of teal meeting Tom's with an intelligent spark. "Pleased to meet you, Tom. It seems we both appreciate the complexities of communication," she said, gesturing to the malfunctioning display. Tom smiled, intrigued. "Absolutely, though I hope not all our exchanges are as lively as this display." Mila laughed, a sound like flowing water. "Agreed. Hopefully, your transition here will be smoother than this technology." As Eli was called away to handle another matter, Tom took the opportunity to learn more about Mila's work. "Dr. Voss mentioned you're from Hydronis. I've read about your underwater cities. It must be a significant change being up here." "It is," Mila admitted, her gaze drifting momentarily to the star-filled viewport. "But the exchange of knowledge is worth it. I study cultural artifacts and social structures here, comparing them with Hydronis. It's fascinating to see the parallels and divergences among cultures." Tom nodded, his curiosity piqued. "I'd love to hear more about your findings sometime. Cultural nuances are what I live for. Perhaps we could arrange a time to exchange notes. I could use a fresh perspective on some of the data I've been analyzing," Mila suggested, clearly pleased with the proposal. "That sounds excellent. I'm looking forward to diving in," Tom replied, the pun unintended but apt given Mila's aquatic background. As they parted ways, Tom felt a surge of enthusiasm for his new role. Not only was the work itself exciting, but the potential for collaboration with someone as knowledgeable as Mila promised to make his time on the station both productive and enlightening. His first day concluded with a tour of his new quarters and a long look out the viewport at the stars. They were far from Earth's skies, yet they offered the same comfort, the promise of new discoveries, new connections, and a new chapter in his life. Chapter 2: Discovering Hydronis. The following week, Tom organized an informal meeting with Mila in one of the station's communal lounges, a place designed to mimic an Earth-style cafe to help ease the homesickness of its terrestrial inhabitants. As he waited for Mila, he couldn't help but feel a blend of professional excitement and personal curiosity. Mila arrived, carrying a data pad filled with images and notes. "Thanks for inviting me, Tom. I brought some visuals that might help convey more about Hydronis," she said, settling into the chair across from him. Tom smiled, his eyes lighting up. "I'm all ears, or should I say all eyes? I can't wait to learn more." Mila tapped her pad, and the first image appeared in the air between them, a vibrant, swirling cityscape submerged in deep, clear water. "This is Coralax, the capital of Hydronis. Our cities are built within and around the coral structures, which are naturally occurring but have been architecturally enhanced over generations." "It's beautiful," Tom remarked, genuinely impressed. "It looks peaceful." "Does the water influence social behaviors a lot?" "Very much so," Mila responded. "The fluidity of water affects not just our architecture, but also our demeanor and cultural practices. We value flow and adaptability, which is reflected in our governance and interactions." As Mila described the social ceremonies and public forums of Hydronis, Tom took notes, fascinated by the parallels and contrasts with human cultures. And what about language? How does it differ in an aquatic environment? Our language is multisensory, combining bioluminescent signals with vocalizations. It allows for rich, layered conversations, Mila explained, showing a video clip of a Hydronian dialogue. The light patterns complemented the sounds, creating a dynamic Tom had never seen before. That's incredible. It's like a continuous dance of light and sound, Tom observed, imagining the complexity of such communication. It must require quite the linguistic agility to interpret it accurately. It does, Mila laughed. But I suppose that's true for any language, isn't it? Context is everything. Their conversation moved on to discuss the challenges of translation and interpretation between such different sensory languages. Tom shared his experiences with Earth's linguistic diversity, drawing comparisons that helped bridge their understanding. Your insights are invaluable, Tom. I wonder how you'd fare underwater, having to use all your senses so differently, Mila mused. I'd probably be quite the novice, but I'd be eager to learn, Tom replied, his mind racing with the thought of experiencing such a world firsthand. As the meeting wrapped up, Mila extended an invitation to Tom. Next time, let me take you through some Hydronian music. It's another important aspect of our culture, heavily influenced by our environment. I'd like that, Tom said, eager for the next chapter of this cultural exchange. And perhaps I could reciprocate with something from Earth, maybe a traditional concert or a food tasting. That sounds delightful, Mila agreed, her expression bright. It's a date, then. As they parted ways, Tom felt a profound sense of connection, not just to Mila, but to the broader universe. The opportunity to dive deep into another culture, to see the world through another species' eyes, was more enriching than he had ever imagined. Each conversation with Mila opened new avenues of understanding, and he looked forward to each upcoming encounter with anticipation and excitement. Chapter 3. Cultural Exchange. Following their previous meeting, Tom prepared for his turn to share aspects of Earth culture with Mila. He decided to focus on the rich diversity of Earth's ecosystems, believing that a biologist like Mila would appreciate the environmental context that shaped human societies. The venue for their meeting was a conference room equipped with advanced holographic technology, ideal for immersive presentations. As Mila entered the room, she found Tom adjusting the settings on a large holographic projector. He greeted her with an enthusiastic smile. Ready for a trip to Earth without leaving the station? I wouldn't miss it for the world, Mila replied, her interest piqued by the setup. Tom started the presentation with a hologram of Earth from space, gradually zooming in on different continents. Earth is incredibly diverse, both in terms of culture and biology. I thought we'd start with the Amazon rainforest, one of the most biodiverse places on the planet. The room filled with the sound of the rainforest. Bird calls and the rustle of leaves created an auditory backdrop to the lush green visuals that surrounded them. Tom explained the significance of such ecosystems to human culture, detailing the ways in which they provided not just resources, but also inspiration for art, music, and folklore. Mila was fascinated, her eyes wide as she took in the sights and sounds. The complexity is staggering. It's similar to our coral reefs in terms of biodiversity, but entirely different in execution. Tom then transitioned to the Sahara Desert, contrasting the vibrant life of the rainforest with the stark, majestic beauty of the vast sands. Here, human cultures have adapted to extreme conditions, developing unique ways of living that emphasize conservation and community. Mila nodded thoughtfully. Adaptation seems to be a universal theme in sentient species. On Hydronies, we have the deep swells, regions of intense pressure and darkness where our kind has developed bioluminescent communication to cope. Encouraged by her engagement, Tom showed her several more ecosystems, each with their own unique human adaptations. He concluded with a view of the urban landscapes, showing how humans had built vast cities that still tried to incorporate elements of the natural world. This is quite enlightening, Mila commented. The scope of human adaptability is impressive. I see now how your people have managed to spread across such varied environments. Tom was pleased with her reaction. I'm glad you think so. It's easy to overlook the nuances when you're immersed in your own world. As the presentation wound down, Tom proposed, for our next session, maybe we could do something more interactive. How about a cooking demonstration? Food is a big part of cultural identity on Earth. Mila was immediately enthusiastic. I'd love that. Food is a cultural touchstone on Hydronies as well. It could be a great way for us to share not just the flavors but the stories behind our dishes. They agreed to meet again, each planning to prepare a dish from their respective worlds. As Mila left the room, her curiosity about Earth visibly deepened, and Tom felt a growing respect for the intelligent, insightful alien who was quickly becoming more than just a colleague. Their cultural exchange was shaping up to be a profound journey for both, not only broadening their professional horizons, but also deepening their personal connection. Each shared experience brought them closer, laying the groundwork for a friendship that was quickly evolving into something more meaningful. Chapter 4: The Gala of Galaxies. The station's annual Gala of Galaxies was a much-anticipated event designed to celebrate the cultural diversity of the various species residing on the station. This year, Tom and Mila decided to attend together, each eager to introduce the other to the full splendor of their cultural heritage. As Tom prepared for the evening, he chose a traditional Earth tuxedo, accentuating it with a lapel pin shaped like Earth. Meanwhile, Mila selected a Hydronian gown that shimmered with the reflective hues of her planet's oceans, the fabric flowing like water with every movement she made. Tom arrived at Mila's quarters to pick her up for the gala. When she opened the door, he was struck by her appearance. "Mila, you look incredible," he managed, his words trailing off in admiration. Mila blushed, a hint of pink visible even through her blue skin. "Thank you, Tom. You look quite distinguished yourself." They made their way to the gala, held in the grand ballroom of the station. The room was decorated with representations of various celestial phenomena, and holographic stars twinkled overhead, mimicking a night sky. Upon entering, they were greeted by the sight of various delegates in their unique attires, each more colorful and elaborate than the last. The air was filled with a symphony of languages and music from different corners of the galaxy. Dr. Eli Voss, spotting them from across the room, waved them over. "Tom, Mila, over here. You two certainly make a striking pair tonight." "Thank you, Eli," Tom replied as they approached. "It's an incredible turnout this year." Eli nodded, his eyes sweeping over the crowd. "It's a testament to the station's ongoing commitment to cultural integration and understanding. Enjoy the evening. You'll find the music and dance presentations quite enlightening." As the evening progressed, Tom and Mila sampled exotic cuisines and engaged in conversations with various guests. Tom was particularly impressed by the dance performances, which showcased traditional movements from different planets. Seeing his interest, Mila gently took his hand. "Would you like to try a Hydronian dance? It's quite simple. I can lead." Tom laughed nervously. "Lead the way, then. I hope I don't step on your fins." Mila smiled, guiding him onto the dance floor. The dance involved fluid movements that mimicked the ocean currents of Hydronies. To his surprise, Tom found the rhythm soothing, and under Mila's expert guidance, he began to move with a grace he didn't know he possessed. As the song ended, they remained on the dance floor, caught in a moment of closeness. Mila looked up into Tom's eyes, and without a word, they leaned in for a kiss, their first kiss soft and tentative, yet full of the promise of more. The kiss was interrupted by applause around them. They had unknowingly drawn the attention of nearby spectators. Flustered but happy, Tom and Mila retreated to a quieter part of the ballroom. "That was unexpected," Tom said, his voice low. "In the best way," Mila replied, her hand still in his. "I'm glad it was with you." The rest of the evening passed in a blur of happiness and new experiences. They returned to the topic of their cultural exchange, planning future meetings with more enthusiasm than before. As they left the gala together, the stars overhead seemed to shine just for them, a silent witness to the new bond forming between them. Their cultural exchange had blossomed into something neither of them had anticipated, but both were eager to explore. The night had been a revelation, showing them that sometimes the heart knows no boundaries, not even those written in the stars. Chapter 5: In the Silence of the Stars. After the gala, the bond between Tom and Mila deepened, marked by shared experiences and a newfound emotional closeness. They found themselves spending more time together, not just in professional capacities but in personal moments as well. One evening, after a day of collaborative work, they decided to visit the station's observatory, a place where one could gaze at the infinite expanse of space in silence. As they entered the dimly lit dome of the observatory, the stars and galaxies spun overhead in a silent, majestic dance. Tom led Mila to the viewing platform, where a high-powered telescope offered a closer look at the celestial wonders. "Have you ever seen the nebula of Orion up close?" Tom asked, adjusting the telescope settings. "Not through a telescope," Mila replied, her voice tinged with anticipation. "On Hydronies, our atmosphere distorts the light from distant stars and nebulae." Tom stepped aside, gesturing for her to take a look. Mila peered through the telescope, and her breath caught at the sight of the swirling colors and luminous gases. "It's beautiful," she whispered, stepping back to let Tom have a look. "It's one of my favorite celestial bodies," Tom said as he took his turn. "It reminds us of how small our problems are in the grand scheme of things." Mila nodded, her eyes still fixed on the stars. "It puts things into perspective, doesn't it? Out here, it's easy to feel both insignificant and incredibly important at the same time." Tom smiled, looking at her with a warmth that had grown over their months together. "Mila, in the silence of the stars, I realize how much I've come to care for you. You've shown me perspectives I never knew existed, not just in science, but in life." Mila turned to face him, her expression soft and open. "Tom, I feel the same. There's a saying on Hydrones, Zera Moneta Veda, the stars align for those with open hearts. I think it fits us." Moved by her words, Tom reached out to touch her cheek gently, a gesture she welcomed by leaning into his hand. Encouraged, he leaned down and kissed her, slowly and with intention. Mila responded with equal passion, her hands finding his shoulders as they drew closer. The kiss deepened, their mutual desire clear and strong. Yet there was a tenderness to their movements, a shared respect and care that made the moment not just about physical attraction, but about connecting on a deeper level. After a moment, they paused, foreheads resting together, breathing in sync. "Being with you here, it's like the universe isn't just something around us, but something that's a part of us," Tom murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. Mila smiled, her eyes shining like the stars above. "Let's not let this moment end too quickly." They spent hours in the observatory, talking, kissing, and watching the stars. It was a night of many firsts, their emotions echoing the silent beauty of the universe around them. As they walked back to their quarters, hand in hand, the station seemed quieter than usual, as if respecting the sanctity of their newfound connection. That night, under the silent stars, their relationship transformed from colleagues to something far more significant. They understood that what they shared was rare and worth cherishing, a love not just transcending species, but also transcending the ordinary limits of space and time. Chapter 6. Challenges Arise. The newfound depth of Tom and Mila's relationship didn't go unnoticed on the station. While many of their colleagues celebrated their union as a symbol of the unity that the Galactic Council aimed to foster, others were less enthusiastic. These skeptics saw potential complications in the blending of personal and professional realms, especially between two individuals from such distinct species. One crisp morning, as the station orbited a peaceful nebula, Tom and Mila found themselves summoned to a meeting with the station's human resources director, a stern and meticulously organized man named Mr. Soren. They exchanged worried glances as they made their way to his office, unsure of what awaited them. "Tom, Mila, please take a seat." Mr. Soren gestured to the chairs in front of his desk, his tone formal. "We need to discuss some concerns that have been brought to my attention regarding your relationship." Tom straightened in his chair, his voice steady. "What kind of concerns, Mr. Soren?" "There are questions about the appropriateness of your relationship given your roles on the station. Specifically, the potential for conflicts of interest and the perception among some colleagues that it might impact your professional judgment," Mr. Soren explained, folding his hands on the desk. Mila responded calmly, her confidence unshaken. "I can assure you, Mr. Soren, our relationship has not and will not interfere with our professional responsibilities. We're both committed to our work and to maintaining the highest standards." "I appreciate that," Mr. Soren nodded, "and personally, I am supportive of your bond. However, you must understand the delicacy of the situation. This is a unique circumstance, and it requires careful handling to ensure compliance with station protocols and interspecies diplomacy." Tom nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "We're prepared to take whatever steps necessary to address these concerns. Perhaps we could draft a statement or outline our boundaries publicly to reassure the Council and our colleagues." "That might be a prudent step," Mr. Soren agreed. "Transparency in this case could indeed mitigate some of the concerns. I also suggest you both attend a workshop on interspecies relationships and ethics. It's scheduled next month, and it will help in setting a precedent for future cases." "Thank you, Mr. Soren. We'll make sure to continue our duties with the utmost professionalism," Mila said, her tone resolute yet respectful. As they left the office, Tom took Mila's hand, squeezing it gently. "We'll get through this. As long as we're together, we can handle any challenge." Mila smiled, squeezing back. "Together," she affirmed. Over the following weeks, Tom and Mila worked harder than ever, not only to maintain their standards but also to set an example. They were transparent about their relationship, keeping their personal and professional lives as distinct as possible while on duty. Their effort to balance the personal with the professional did not go unnoticed. Colleagues began to see them not just as a couple, but as a testament to the possibility of unity and understanding across cultures and species. Slowly, the skepticism around them diminished, replaced by admiration and support. Their participation in the workshop on interspecies relationships was well received, and they shared their experiences openly, helping to develop new guidelines for personal relationships on the station. Their story became one of not just personal connection, but also professional integrity, showing that it was possible to love deeply while upholding the values and responsibilities of their roles on the station. As they continued to navigate the complexities of their situation, Tom and Mila grew stronger, both as individuals and as a couple, ready to face whatever the universe had in store for them with unity and unwavering commitment. Chapter 7: Proving Intentions. As Tom and Mila navigated the complexities of their interspecies relationship under the watchful eyes of their colleagues and station management, they found a new purpose: to prove that their partnership could bring tangible benefits to the Galactic Council and its missions. They decided to collaborate on a significant research project that would utilize both their expertise, focusing on enhancing communication protocols across species using advanced linguistic and cultural algorithms. One morning, in a lab bustling with activity, they discussed their project's progress, surrounded by screens displaying data and algorithms. Tom, look at this simulation. If we integrate the Hydronian nonverbal cues into the translator, the accuracy of emotional nuances improves dramatically, Mila explained, pointing at the changing graphs on her screen. That's impressive, Tom remarked, leaning in to study the data. It could revolutionize how negotiations are conducted on the station. Let's present this at the next Interspecies Communication Forum. What do you think? Mila nodded enthusiastically. Absolutely. Showing our work's potential impact might help change some lingering doubts about us, too. As they prepare their presentation, Dr. Eli Voss, who would become a mentor and ally, visited their lab to check on their progress. How's the dynamic duo today? He asked with a smile. We're on the verge of a breakthrough, Tom responded, sharing a glance with Mila. We think our project could be a game changer for the Council's diplomacy efforts. Eli's eyes brightened as he reviewed their findings. This is outstanding work. Let's ensure your results are seen and appreciated. I'll arrange a special session for you at the forum. Grateful for his support, Tom and Mila worked tirelessly, refining their presentation and ensuring their research was watertight. The day of the forum arrived quickly, and the conference room was packed with various species, all eager to learn about new developments in communication technology. Standing before the assembly, Tom began their presentation with confidence. Today, we're excited to share a project that not only enhances interspecies communication, but also demonstrates how diverse perspectives can lead to incredible innovations. Mila took over seamlessly, detailing the technical aspects and the potential applications of their work. Our simulations show a 35% improvement in understanding cultural references and emotional expressions across species, reducing misunderstandings in crucial negotiations. The audience listened intently, their interest palpable in the room. Questions followed, ranging from technical inquiries to potential implementation. Tom and Mila answered each with clarity and a shared enthusiasm that underscored their unity and mutual respect. As the session concluded, applause filled the room, and many colleagues approached them with congratulations and new queries about their work. It was clear that the presentation had not only highlighted their professional capabilities, but it also subtly shifted perceptions about their relationship. Back in their lab, Tom and Mila shared a quiet moment of relief and satisfaction. We did it, Mila said, her voice a mix of pride and relief. We did, Tom agreed, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. Whatever happens next, we've shown that we're better together, professionally and personally. As they packed up their materials, their conversation turned to the future. They discussed potential expansions of their project and other areas where their combined expertise might be applied. The success at the forum marked a significant step forward in their careers and their life together on the station. It was clear that their relationship, forged in the quiet moments between the stars, had become a driving force for innovation and understanding, setting a precedent for others to follow. Chapter 8: Acceptance and Future Hopes. Following their successful presentation, Tom and Mila's project rapidly moved from theoretical to practical application. The Galactic Council approved a pilot program based on their communication enhancements, and soon their protocols were being tested in real diplomatic scenarios across various species and cultures. In the wake of this achievement, they were invited to speak at a high-profile closing ceremony for the annual diplomatic summit held on the station. The event was designed to reflect on the year's successes and set goals for the future, and there was a palpable buzz as many anticipated hearing from Tom and Mila. As they prepared for their speech in the quiet of their shared office, Tom looked over at Mila, who was reviewing her notes. "You know, a year ago, I couldn't have imagined we'd be here," he said, his voice tinged with. Mila smiled, looking up from her datapad. "It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? From meeting in a chaotic office to speaking in front of the entire council." "Every step worth it," Tom replied, taking her hand for a moment before they were called to the stage. The auditorium was filled with representatives from dozens of planets, all waiting to hear from them. As they stepped up to the podium, a warm round of applause greeted them. Tom started, his voice clear and strong. "Ladies and gentlemen, representatives of the Galactic Council, we stand before you as partners in both our work and our lives. Our project began as a way to bridge linguistic and cultural gaps, but it has grown into something much larger." Mila took over seamlessly, confidence evident. "Our communication enhancements have now been implemented in preliminary diplomatic missions with remarkable success. This is just the beginning, but it's proof that when diverse minds come together, the potential for progress is boundless." The audience nodded, many murmuring in agreement. Mila continued, "We are excited to announce that the Council has agreed to expand our program. Not only will it include more species, but it will also explore cultural exchanges much like the one that brought Tom and me together." Tom smiled at her, then addressed the crowd again. "Our personal journey has mirrored our professional one. It has not been without its challenges, but today, we see a community ready to embrace not just our work, but also the idea that love and respect can transcend species and origins." As they concluded, the applause was louder and more sustained than before. It was clear that they had not only gained professional respect, but had also won many hearts with their sincerity and commitment. After the ceremony, as the crowd dispersed, many stopped to congratulate Tom and Mila, asking questions and expressing support for their future initiatives. Among them was Dr. Eli Voss, who had watched them with something like paternal pride. "You've done something remarkable," Eli said, clapping Tom on the back and giving Mila a respectful nod. "You've shown that the heart of diplomacy isn't just about politics. It's about understanding and compassion. Keep that fire burning." As the evening wound down, Tom and Mila walked back to their quarters, hand in hand, their hearts full. The station, with its myriad lights and the backdrop of endless space, felt like home now more than ever. In their quarters, they stood by the window, looking out at the stars. "What's next for us?" Mila asked, her voice soft. "Everything," Tom replied, wrapping an arm around her. "Whatever comes, we face it together." As they looked out into the vastness of space, it was clear that their love, like their work, had the power to bridge worlds. The future was uncertain, as it always is where the frontier of space lies, but together, they were ready for whatever challenges and wonders it held. In the silence of the stars, their love transcended species, a beacon of unity and hope for everyone watching across the galaxies.